This is the new CMF by Nothing Phone 1, and I know you're excited, so is the whole industry. There's a lot of hype around it, and honestly, I think it kind of deserves it. You'll see why. But this is nothing we're talking about, so you've got to look beyond the hype and notice the little details that might get ignored while everyone's getting excited about a screwdriver. Look, let's cut to the chase. The most unique thing about this phone is the back here. It's got 5 screws at the back, one of which looks like a big dial, and the rest are polished stainless steel. The camera module has a metal frame. Yes, it looks different, kind of industrial, but that's not the best part. The thing is, Nothing will be selling these cases for the CMF Phone 1, and these aren't exactly cases. These are back covers that can be swapped, and the attention to detail is crazy. See, in this case box, you get this screwdriver, comes SIM ejector tool and additional dial, screws that go with that color, a SIM slot that's colored according to the case. Now all you need to do is remove the dial by just rotating it like this, remove these screws with the screwdriver like this. And for the cutter audience out there, both the screwdriver and these screws are made of non-magnetic stainless steel, which are known to be more expensive, more durable. So one more point for attention to detail. Anyway, once you remove the screws, you can just remove this back cover like this. Done. Yeah, this is what the phone looks like without anything on. I kind of like it. And if you're thinking use replaceable batteries, yay, no, the battery is sealed. Anyway, once you remove the back plate, you can just attach a new back cover, attach the new screws, attach the new dial, put in the new SIM slot, and you have a different looking phone. This is awesome. Now each of these cases cost 1500 rupees, but all of them bring different looks and different finishes. The black one is plastic, but it has a metallic finish to it. Same with this light blue version. The orange has a vegan leather back, and I like how the CMF logo is engraved. It feels great, looks vibrant. My personal favorite though is the blue, which is limited to India. It also has the leather finish, and if you're feeling adventurous, you can pair the orange back with the black screws, the blue dial from the blue case, and the light blue SIM slot. Yay! I mean, just wait for the accessories and you'll see that the possibilities are endless. And what's great is that all of these cases fit in perfectly, no gaps or anything. Even the buttons are very tactile on all of them. I was also doubtful about any water resistance, but this has the IP52 rating, which is obviously not the best, but something is better than nothing. And you know what? This whole ability to swap out the back has a lot of advantages. Tell me something and don't lie. You're changing the case of your phone or just cleaning your case, and for a moment you look at your phone and you're like, this looks good. I wish I was fucking rich. I could just use this phone naked, not you, the phone, and not worry about the phone getting scratches or getting dents, because this is how it was supposed to be used, right? And this solves that. And you don't have to be rich too. I'm not saying you. You get the point. I mean, I literally dropped this phone recently and I checked the phone screen if it was okay, but I did not care about the back because you can always swap out the back in case of dents or scratches, and that is the best part about this design. And all of these cases are officially from Nothing, and I can't wait to see what third-party makers do with this. Maybe a glass back case, maybe a transparent case. Like I said, so many possibilities. And this isn't all about the looks. I know a lot of us were expecting this dial to work like the smart dial on the Buds 2 Pro, but this serves a sort of different purpose. See, Nothing will also be selling these accessories separately at 800 rupees. So basically you can attach a foldable phone stand to the CMF Phone 1 like this, and this is actually useful because now you have a built-in phone stand. You can even attach this card holder, which is magnetic, and you can put in your cards here, some cash. Now we tested this to the brink, and this can hold 3 cards or 2 cards and a note at a time. We also tried using 2 accessories at once, and it worked. I mean, it's not snug fit, but you can kind of make it work. There's also this lanyard accessory, and credit where it's due. Not sure if I should call this a lanyard because this is proper thick. It's like a trekking, hiking rope. It's well built, something you probably put in Scorpios in Delhi. Now, once again, these are accessories Nothing is officially launching. So again, possibilities. See, there's no doubt that this design makes this phone super appealing. I mean, anyone who gets bored of how their phone looks is going to love it. Anyone who easily scratches their phone will love it. But I know there's also a section of people thinking, I don't care about all of this. I'm not going to care about my phone's back after a few months. I just want a good phone. Plus, when I got this phone, I got the price. I was like, are there any cost cuttings to get this phone at this price? First of all, let me start by saying that this design is cool, really cool, but it's not flawless. 2 reasons. One, this is a pretty big phone, even a tad bit bigger than the Nothing Phone 2A. Also, it's not hefty, the weight seems well distributed, but it's not a lightweight phone at around 200 grams. Second reason, the cutouts for the screws, the dial kind of jutting out from the back do take some getting used to. I mean, the first few days I used to pick up the phone and think maybe I have the orientation wrong because I can feel the camera module on the bottom, but it was always the dial. The cutouts for the screws are also kind of sharp, so at the start it does feel a bit strange. But honestly, it's not a deal breaker because I did get used to it. Enough about the bag. Moving to the front, the first takeaway was bezels. Yes, this has a thick bezel, kind of like the Nothing Phone 1, and it might look unified, but it's actually not. The bottom bezel is just a tiny bit thicker if you look closely. As for the display, this has a Super AMOLED display with the FHD Plus resolution, 120Hz refresh rate, HDR support, and for the price, this seems like a good AMOLED panel. It has nice colors, the display is smooth, supporting 120Hz even in third-party apps. The blacks are deep, and you don't get HDR in Netflix, but YouTube supports it. But I found the cost-cutting number one here, and that's the brightness. This has a peak brightness of 2000 nits, which sounds impressive, but nothing did mention that this number is only for HDR, and typical brightness ranges from 500 to 700 nits at max, and this shows. It's not unusable outdoors, but yeah, I've seen better. Apart from this, you don't get a headphone jack here, but surprisingly, this has a micro SD slot in hybrid fashion that supports cards up to 2 TB. You also get an in-display fingerprint scanner here that's fast and nice. But coming to cost-cutting number two is the fact that this has a single speaker at the bottom. I mean, this speaker is fine, it's fairly loud, it's pretty crisp, no problems, but I'm so used to stereo speakers in every single phone now that yeah, this does feel like a letdown. Performance-wise, this has the MediaTek Dimensity 7300 with 6 or 8 GB RAM and 128 GB storage. And you must be thinking the MediaTek Dimensity 7300 is the successor to the Dimensity 7200 in the higher-priced Nothing Phone 2A. Yeah, no. Blame it on MediaTek and their competition with Qualcomm on who has the most confusing naming scheme, because the 7300 is not the successor to the 7200, it's in fact the successor to the 7050. I know. And the upgrade being the 4nm TSMC process and the additional performance cores. The 7200 on the other hand is just more powerful with newer cores and better GPU. Now this whole confusion apart, the 7300 is actually a good chipset for this price range. It's not the most powerful, definitely not, with the iQOO Z9 and the Vivo T3 featuring the more powerful 7200, but it does the job and that too pretty well. I mean, it hits 600K in 9:2, the Geekbench score is decent too for this segment. The stability is very good in 3D Mark and there's no throttling issues. Plus I've been using this phone as my daily driver, and maybe it's Nothing OS or maybe it's the new 7300 chipset, but the day-to-day performance is smooth, almost lag-free, which is what you want. And even though this isn't exactly a gaming phone, it handles things like Asphalt very well. It handles BGMI pretty good too, which supports smooth extreme 60 FPS gameplay, and the performance, yeah, is pretty good. And I haven't found the phone to heat up in day-to-day usage or even in Asphalt BGMI, but when I did play Genshin Impact with graphics set to medium, the FPS set to 60, the gameplay is fine. I mean, there's some minor stutters, but it's still playable. But I did feel the phone heating up a little after 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, something to note if you're big on intensive gaming. Other than this though, it gets the performance right, but the biggest advantage of the 4nm 7300 I found is the battery life. There's a 5000 mAh battery here, and on medium usage, this easily got me more than 7 hours of screen on time, 6.5 hours on some occasions, and that's with 10% battery still left. Even on heavy usage, the SOT is around 6 hours, which is, yeah, like I said, very good. Now, one thing I had wished nothing would change in the more affordable CMF Phone 1 is putting a charger in the box, and while that did not happen, you'll be able to get this 33-watt PD charger from CMF at 800 rupees with the phone as a sort of bundle, and this takes the phone from 10 to 50% in around 20 minutes and 100% in an hour, which is fairly fast. Plus, unlike say the iQOO Z9 or the Vivo T3 or even the new OnePlus Nord C4 Lite, which has some bloatware, surprisingly, nothing hasn't compromised on the experience, which is honestly a big deal at this price. I mean, this is the screen recording of the app drawer after I just set up the phone, and there's no bloatware whatsoever, not even Netflix or Spotify or Facebook. It's all squeaky clean. And this has Nothing OS 2.5.6, and there's no cut down on features too. You get the same monochrome theme, you get the same widgets, you get all the cool customization options including AI wallpapers, you get the same lock screen shortcuts, the same always on display experience. Yeah, no cost cuttings here, and this will get 2 OS updates and 3 years of security patches, which is good enough at this price range. Then there's the cost cutting number 3, and that is kind of debatable. So you get a 50 megapixel Sony IMX882 sensor, with the second one kind of being a useless 2 megapixel depth sensor. Basically, no ultra wide angle camera here. Now I know a lot of phones in this price segment don't have an ultra wide angle camera, but no matter what you say, this is a cost cutting at the end of the day. That apart, I did find the camera performance from the main camera to be pretty good. Photos are sharp even when I was using the 2x in-sensor crop. Colors look rich mostly while not being oversaturated, and dynamic range is decentish, but the CMF phone gets the exposure mostly right. And I'm talking about both daytime and low light shots, which are also pretty good, especially with auto night mode supported. I mean, it's not all perfect. A lot of times the details are kind of very okayish, especially in low light, but I did a camera comparison versus the Nord CE4 Lite, and in daytime both the phones seem fairly on par, but in low light the CMF phone photos are just sharper almost every single time, and mind you, the CMF phone does not have OIS. I also recorded a 1080p video from both the phones, and here too the CMF phone's video is better. I mean, there is some jitter when I'm walking, but the CE4 Lite's video is even more jittery, and there's weird exposure changes. The CMF phone one, by the way, does have 4K video recording, and like I mentioned, no OIS, but maybe EIS is working in 4K because the quality is good and the stability also seems fine. As for the portrait mode, it wasn't great on the phone 2A, and it's kind of okay here. I mean, the face details are strictly okay, and the edge detection is still a bit rough around the edges. As for the 16 megapixel selfie camera, most of the times it does take good enough selfies, but the HDR isn't very good, as you can see in some of these photos. Also, it shows you a somewhat smoothened out face in the viewfinder, which is fixed after processing in photos, but in video calls it kind of shows up. Apart from that, this has all the basics. This is Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.3, dual 5G with 9 band supported, and I haven't faced any issues with connectivity on this, and there's carrier aggregation too. Look, all said and done, whether you like it or not, the truth is the CMF Phone 1 at 15,999 is one bold phone, and it deserves a bold statement, so here's one. Look, this is a game changer as far as phones under 20K are concerned. I know phones with removable back covers isn't a new concept, phones with accessories on the back isn't a new concept either, but the fact that nothing is bringing all of this in essentially what is their budget smartphone is what makes this special. I mean, this just seems like a phone designed by one guy, a hardcore tech enthusiast for geeks like you or me. I mean, think about it. For most brands, phones in this price segment are kind of an afterthought, while nothing went ahead and did something unique, and they did it well while keeping a good price. And I know this isn't a perfect phone. The screen could be brighter, the phone could have been more compact, portrait mode needs work, stereo speakers should have been there, but I think the other factors in this phone be the unique design, the fairly solid performance, good cameras, and the really clean, nothing OS experience make this a solid all-around smartphone that I would recommend. You know what? No matter what you say, this is interesting. So I really want to know what you guys think about this phone. Comment down below. And if you still have any other questions on this phone, comment below and I'll answer them. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like this video, and see you in the next one.